What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy NarikChase, and in this video we're going to be reviewing episode 4 of It. Welcome to Derry. So far, the last 3 episodes have been pretty good bangers, especially because establishing the characters, establishing a bit of the atmosphere of Derry, as well as Pennywise's influence, not only with the whole town itself, but with the kids as well. You see how he's messing with them and screwing with them, very subtle in a lot of ways, but there are some really cool kills so far. And I'm saying they're like cool kills when like he's killing kids, but we all like, Pennywise is a douche, but we sit here watching them kill kids, and that's kind of his thing. So let's see what episode 4 has for us this time around. So last episode, the kids were in the graveyard. They managed to take a couple of pictures of the spirits that were chasing them, of the previous kids. In the first episode, they got killed, as well as a possible image of Pennywise because it is a clown. So they ended up taking it to the police chief to try to prove the innocence of, what's her name? Anyways, can't remember a freaking name now. But the black chick, the little black girl, we're trying to prove her dad's innocence. And they basically get laughed off. And to be honest, you kind of see this. Yeah, it was kind of cool seeing that they were, the kids were trying to do this. But you see them attempting to, use their heads and everything. So that was kind of a messed up scene, but you kind of figured that would be what would happen. And the guy kind of made a point too. Oh, another thing that I almost forgot is the fact that when they took the pictures initially and developed them, they saw the spirits of the kids. But then when they showed the picture to the captain, Bowers, they don't see him anymore. The ghosts are gone. So that was actually a pretty good, cool, mind F because of Pennywise. So, there's a moment where Will is at home, and you can say there's a bit more tension building up between Leroy and his wife Charlotte and Will. You start seeing there's starting to be a bit more cracks in their family relationship. So Leroy ends up taking Will to go fish. Pretty cool moment. You get to see these two bond. You really don't get to see these two bond that much, but this is actually a pretty cool sequence. So, Leroy ends up going to go get some bait, or lost the line snapped or something, and he ends up leaving Will out there. And of course, we're like, that's a bad idea. And Will ends up seeing, Pennywise ends up messing with Will, ends up pulling them into the water, and you end up seeing this fiery face in the flames. And honestly, I didn't know who the hell that was. I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be Will or his dad. But his dad actually hears him and manages to get to him in time. And Will says, I just saw a vision of you. This thing attacked me and you was on fire. So you're like, okay, is Leroy going to die now? And he actually sees the wounds on his son. The Pennywise left wounds on his arms when he pulled him in. So cool, we get to see an adult actually kind of witness some of the things. And I actually believe in the episode there was a red balloon that flew by too. So they both saw it. So that was actually pretty cool. And of course, Will is like, okay, there's something here, and it's wilding out. So Leroy is starting to believe his son, especially since he knows what the military is looking for. So everything's come together with his character. Leroy still is proven to be a really cool character. So there's a moment where Will and the other kids are actually talking at the hideout. And he's like, and this is pretty cool because he kind of came at the situation scientifically wise because he is a scientific character. He's like, well, what if this thing is feeding on our fears? Because some predators feed on the fear of their prey, and when it gets to a certain height, it's chow time, and they ready to chow down on them. So he actually tells them that it's scaring them for them to release more fear, so that way it becomes more satisfied eating them, I guess. Because we all know that the more scared somebody is, the more he likes that before he eats them. So, and they asked the question, because one of them did ask the question. He was like, well, why doesn't he, if he can get to us, why he just don't kill us? And he's like, well, maybe he's scaring us because it tastes better if we're scared. So I like that. I thought that, and Will has kind of become that standout character that's kind of figuring things out, and I do like that. And I do see that that's kind of balanced out with his father, because both of them happen to get caught up in the same thing on two different sides of it. So they're both dealing with Pennywise on two different sides of it. One, the son defensively, and the dad kind of offensively. That's actually pretty cool. So, Charlotte, I'm liking Charlotte because she is kind of. I like Charlotte. She's actually doing something. So she, in the previous episode, made a move to go help out Hank, who is the black girl's Ronnie's dad, who is in jail for supposedly killing the kids, even though there's no evidence of it. And, he ends up, and I guessed it. Oh, I guessed it. I called it. I said he's messing with another dude, or he's messing with a woman. And during the time, and I thought about, during the time period, I said, he's different. He's messing with a white woman. And then I was like, and not only that, she's married. Bam. Got the confession out of him. He told her, yeah, I'm messing with a white woman who's married. Booyah. I called that one. But anyways, actually I called it like 10 minutes before the reveal. But before that, I was like, yeah, he messing around with another guy. So I still called it. It still counts. As long as it ain't 1 minute before the reveal. But anyways, so I kind of like that because she kind of brings, again, the time period. They do introduce like racism, but it isn't like overtly. It's actually a subtle, because a lot of people do that. The characters do kind of get along, but there are subtle hints that is there. You saw that in the first episode, but it wasn't like outrageous. And she's kind of bringing, and her angle is kind of exploring the racism angle, which I don't mind. I think that's actually a pretty cool angle. So, but anyways, so that we're like, okay, who is this mystical woman? Which I don't know. I didn't really know who it would be at that time. But we're going to skip over to Marge and Lily. Lily's still wilding out because of everything that's been going on, and Marge is still trying to hang out with the Cupcake Girls, or whatever the hell they name, the Barbie Girls. The Cherry Girls? Cherry Blossoms? I don't freaking know what those girls' names are. But anyways, so she's trying to prank Lily. And I kind of had a love-hate relationship with Marge. It's like the whole time I'm like, I think she's not like a likable character, but she's like a character I could I understand. And I also like, at some point she's going to meet Pennywise. He's going to wild out and do something to her. And then because right now she think her friend Lily, I guess she cares about her, but at the same time she's like, no, she's crazy. No. So she's doing a dick move, trying to prank Lily to impress the Cupcake Girls, or whatever the hell their name is. And the next thing you know, while Lily goes to the bathroom, because the prank is some jock who ain't got nothing better to do is like, oh, I'm interested in you. So Lily goes to the bathroom to go freshen up. Marge kind of have a change of heart, and she does kind of have a change of heart. But before she does, before this whole incident jumps off, they were watching a film about slugs. And it was, the eye stalks and stuff. And what happens before Marge can get it out to say, hey, don't do this, it's a big prank and everything, her eyes start to hurt, and then the eyes bulge out like the stalks of a snail. So, Pennywise is doing his thing. Lily's like, what the hell? And then Marge is running around. She's like, ah! And she's like, oh, my eyes and all of this. She's trying to wilding out and all of that. And she tries to cut her eyes out, but Lily manages to stop her. Of course, predictably so, When she stops her, she's laying on top of the girl, sitting on top of the girl with the knife or the scissors or the chisel or whatever the hell it was, and everybody comes in. So again, everybody thinks she's crazy. So I was like, God, this girl just cannot catch a freaking break. So I do like the fact that she does save a friend. So Will is at the house and he ends up looking out the window, sees a clown in the shadows, and he's like, ah! So, his dad is like, what's happening? He's like, oh, somebody out there. So Leroy is thinking it's somebody that is Leroy, because Charlotte is kind of doing this thing with bringing in like the it's basically ruffling feathers, trying to help out Hank because she's part of like the Black Power movement stuff. Leroy thinks it's somebody retaliating, so he goes out. He's like, "What's happening? What's up? What's popping? Y'all ready to do this?" So he ends up seeing a red balloon. We look at that clown figure. We're like, "Okay, it's Pennywise." So he's like, "Okay, cool. Okay, he definitely making his move." So before then, the Indian lady, I can't remember her name, her nephew, they had this big meeting in one of the previous episodes. I want to say either that or the beginning of this episode. And they were talking about how the Native Americans were kind of watching what the military were doing. And one of the lady's name is Rose. So Rose has a nephew named Teniel. And he gets caught by the military. They rough him up because he knows about Pennywise. They figure he knows about Pennywise. They know about the whole history and all of that stuff. So after taking an ass whooping, he doesn't really fold. So Leroy ends up coming in, and he ends up watching Halloran dive into Taniel's mind. So Leroy is seeing Halloran do his thing. He knows he has some kind of ability, but now we get to see it. And it's pretty cool. I like how they're diving more into what The Shining, because Halloran is the guy from The Shining, so we get to see more of what The Shining is capable of. I actually started to learn more about it. Yeah, you got The Shining movie and stuff, and Dr. Sleep kind of elaborated on it more, but I think this dives into it even more. So this is what I wanted to see, not necessarily the origins of Pennywise, but kind of backstory on him in this area, and this episode completely delivered. I already know a lot about Pennywise. He came in on a meteor, and it's kind of been tied to the same area because of the meteor, and he's been kind of just haunting all this time, and the Native American people have been there, and it's cool because you get to see him. He kills a lot of people in this episode. Not that you necessarily see it all, but there's a lot of death in this episode, and it's because of him. You got the Native Americans being like, hey, telling the white settlers, don't go in the woods. They go in the woods, get wiped out. They tell you about the weakness. There's a crystal that was broken off of the meteor shard that's kind of like Pennywise's weakness that they utilize against him to protect them against him, and how he takes these different forms. I mean, when you first see him, he's just like big moose with glowing yellow eyes. Looks completely badass. But you get the backstory of him in that area, the Native Americans, what they tried to do to contain him, and to keep him, to try to kill him at some point, but then contain him because he's so powerful, and what he's capable of with the shape-shifting and all of the hallucinations he's capable of. There was a daughter of the tribeswoman that tried to go get more of the crystals, and you get to see Pennywise end up attacking her mom and all of these hunters. It's pretty brutal sequence. Really, really cool. And they tell you why he's stuck in this area. It's just the whole backstory of it is well worth the watch by itself. If you said screw everything else about the episode, at least watch the backstory aspect of it. It's really, really good. It gives you enough, not really the origins of him before he comes to Earth, but what he's been doing when he's here and who's been keeping an eye on him. So you learn that the Native American tribe has been keeping an eye on him. They've been trying their best to keep him contained and to keep people away from him. And possibly the reason why, I think it's pretty cool. I think also, like, during one of his sleep spells where he goes to sleep for like 27 years and it's peaceful and stuff, that's when the settlers started building Derry, and then he started wilding out. So they've been kind of watching him and stuff. So I thought that was actually really, 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 really cool. How they got him contained there, I thought was really, really cool. Thought it was something that definitely works with the lore. The one thing that I wanted to kind of see was in the It Chapter 2 movie, the black dude is like, well, we tried, back in the day, they tried to contain him in this urn or vase, and they all got killed. I kind of wanted to see that sequence to kind of tie it definitely to the second film, but I guess you could say either that happened before the period that they do talk about in the backstory, or afterwards, which it doesn't really matter. You just know it just happens somewhere before the events of the movie and before the events of this series. So I thought that was really, really cool. And again, it's told in a very interesting way. Halloran is watching a young Tennille talk to his aunt Rose as he's recanting the story of Pennywise coming there and all the stuff he's been doing. So all it is, we're watching basically like third hand, but it was actually pretty cool. And we see, Halloran manipulating Tennille's mind, and we end up finding out why the sewer system is so important, because it leads to the location, I guess this is a spoiler. They took a number of crystals. I can't remember how many of those crystal shards from the meteor, and they basically built a cage. And the cage is what Derry is sitting in. So that's what the sewers connect. Why the sewers are so important. And they say the middle part is the house that everybody, the Neobolt Street house that you see in the second films. So, they're going to go hunt down Pennywise. Now, I've always liked seeing like the military or cops or something just dealing with like supernatural figures or killers or something like that, done in good ways, not stupid ways. I'm talking Maniac Cop 2. I'm talking Jeepers Creepers. I'm talking Darkness Falls. I'm talking what's that movie with the lady had the entity in the back of her head? Like, I always like seeing humans deal, like armed military and stuff, deal with like supernatural or paranormal type creatures. And we definitely, hopefully going to get that next episode. The setup is just on point. So I need, like I said, me personally, this possibly is the best episode. I love the backstory. I love more of what the world that Will and Leroy are just diving more into. And Halloran is actually becoming a good favorite of mine. I'm starting to like his character more and more. I like Charlotte. I'm starting to like the kids more. They're doing a really good balance with the characters and just upping up the ante with the story. Not only with Pennywise's character, but outside of that. I would definitely give this episode a 4 out of 5. So guys, in the comment section below, let me know, what are your thoughts? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode as an origin story for Pennywise? Do you like it? Because I thought it was actually really good. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel. I'll definitely catch you guys later.